Hello. On this special edition of Building Geek Cred, we're going to be unboxing this. The new Ninja Turtles game by IDW Entertainment. This is the Kickstarter pack, and it consists of 2 full box games, Change is Constant and City Fall. It includes this smaller pack, The Secret History of the Foot Clan, this wonderful huge box full of all of the Kickstarter extras, a pack of pizza-shaped health trackers, and 5 individual boxed sets. We have the Villain Upgrade Pack, the Deviations Pack, the Savage Slash Pack, the Loner Roth Pack, and perhaps my favorite of all, the Stan Sakai Pack. So stay tuned, and let's get started unboxing. We'll get started by taking a look at the health trackers. They're called pizza spinners, and as you can see, there's several here for the heroes, 6 total. There's also a set for the villains. See, the back, of course, is simply a dial of numbers. The idea being, you punch one of these out, use these little spindles to attach them together, and at that point, you'll be able to track your health simply by rotating the dial backwards and forwards during the course of play. Save those for setup later, set that aside. Let's take a look at our first full box. This is Change is Constant. And as you can see, the artwork on it is excellent. Let's go ahead and pop the plastic here so we can take a really good look at what's inside. Now note, this game is part of a Universal Adventure gaming system made by IDW Games. It's recommended for ages 14 and up, largely because there's small pieces in it. You wouldn't want the little kids to get a hold of the miniatures, I'm sure. Plays in about 60 to 90 minutes, it says, and it can play 1 to 5. As usual with boxes, this one's going to be a little tricky to open to begin with. So again, as you can see, excellent artwork, very reminiscent of the cartoon version of the Ninja Turtles that you may have grown up with in the 80s, or maybe even on Nickelodeon today. Each of the turtles is featured on one edge of the box. We got Donatello on the bottom, Raphael on the side, Michelangelo there on the top, and Leonardo here on the other side. Setting this box top aside for a moment, we got the Change is Constant Adventure Comics Part 1 and Adventure Comics Part 2. Now, one of the things I think is pretty clever about this game is it actually has the adventures laid out in a comic book style format with actual splash pages and interludes and things that explain the setup of the game to you, as well as the story as you progress. So this is designed to be played as one continuous campaign through Part 1 into Part 2. On top of that, you've got, of course, your main rule book that explains all of the rules of the game. Also gives you a little ad on the back here for an expansion coming in 2020 for Mutanimals, so we got even more to look forward to. And then in here we have a fantastic game tray for keeping all of your pieces intact. This lid actually snaps on nice and tight. It's even taped down now to make sure that it doesn't go anywhere, but you can see each and every figure has its own little area specifically designed for it and sized perfectly. So once it's in here, the pieces are not going to shake and fly all over the box. We'll pop the tape tabs here real quickly. Take a look at some of these miniatures a little more closely. This actually does snap down fairly snugly even without the tape on it. So we've got a number of different figures in here. Some of them may be difficult to see, so I've set up a little prop that hopefully is going to help me display these to you. So for instance, here we have the Michelangelo figure. You can see Mikey's on his skateboard. He's got his nunchucks going. Very dynamic pose as he's kicking the board up off of the ground. Here we have Casey Jones. Always a favorite of mine. Casey's got his cricket bat and his regular baseball bat, not to mention his golf bag full of all of his other goodies on his back. So he's ready to come out and fight with the Turtles, perhaps against the Turtles. Now look at this thing, the giant Mouser figure. Look at the size of that thing. It's absolutely massive. Let's put Michelangelo up against it there for a minute, give you a feel of the scope of that thing. But the giant Mouser figure, very impressive, very, very chunky. Looks great, nice details on it. And we'll grab one more here for demonstration purposes. Let's grab a member of the Foot Clan. There's one of your standard run-of-the-mill Foot Clan soldiers. Even so, nice sculpt, nice detail to it, nice little wrinkles in the cloth on the back. Great work on the wraps on the top of the boots. So overall, the figures look wonderful. So also inside of the box, we have a sheet of health trackers, which are of course superseded by the fancy ones that we have with the rotation in it. Inside of here are a number of other tokens as well, so let's go ahead and open up this token pack real quickly, see what we've got inside. So in addition to these pizza health trackers, we have knocked out tokens. We got some other sort of token there. Now the back of those show Raphael actually bonking somebody on the head, and the back of the pizza, I didn't notice, actually has the villain trackers on it. And here we have assorted other tokens that belong to individual turtles, it looks like. Some others. We got spawn tokens. We got things that obviously will go to help replace map pieces. Very similar on the back there. Just another sheet of tokens. These are obviously other things that you can place to change up the game board as you're going. Trash cans. Mystery tokens, which will be treated as objectives. If you notice on the back, they're different colored X's, so that'll obviously come into play. And we have doors that are closed as well as opened. Fire, manhole covers, looks like computer banks, some more big storage containers, and this looks like a security camera to me. Taking a look at the back, not much difference there except your fire turns into smoke. Roadblocks, the TCRI building. Those of us who are fans of the Turtles know what that stands for. Some park bench, street carts, steam coming out of a pipe. A few variations there, different signs, notably air conditioners and the infamous canister of ooze. Cars, tokens that look like they're broken edges of roofs. Another car, we've got some other things going on here. Large storage containers, perhaps these are meant to be trailers that people live in. Looks like a water tower to me. And again, the back of this one's very similar. This is probably then an open bank vault. That looks like a closed bank vault. So those are the token sheets that are included. Further down in here, we have a set of cheat sheets. This gives us the rules of the game in a very compact, convenient way to store them and carry them around. Talks about how you do cooperative mode versus competitive mode. Gives you a guide to all of the individual icons that we just looked at, as well as a terrain color guide that tells you if you're walking across yellow, it's slow, green is covered, black is blocking, and so on. It tells you everything that you need to know about the game board at a glance. Finally, we come to the terrain tiles. Series of the standard, I believe, 10.5-inch square tiles. Okay, so we've got the first one here. We've got Ninja Pizza. We're obviously got rooftops. We've got an alley in between, and see we have some blue terrain here, which our sheet tells us is elevated. So you know those are the rooftops. Looking at the back, we've got some slow terrain if you're moving through those areas. This looks like part of their lair, where they actually have their own video game in the corner there, the Ninja Turtles. This looks like their sewer home to me. Some additional terrain. We got some stairs up and down. Looks like some dumpsters here on that roadway. More sewer pieces. Our first red, which is rough terrain. Movement stops when you move into that area. A large sewer intersection, including some pink terrain, which you take a wound when you enter that. It looks like you're being drawn down a drain there. This looks like part of a junkyard perhaps, or just an empty lot out on the city streets. Inside of a lab, my guess is going to be TCRI there. A nice park with a little pathway through it. It's like a security desk inside of a building. Another park with a fountain. All right, subway entrance with graffiti saying that the foot stinks. More streets. Train tracks. And notice these blocks here are exactly the same as we saw on the tile sheet. Got one rather large area here that's just one raised roof. And then here we have what looks like inside of a bank vault. This looks like safety deposit boxes to me. So this looks like inside of a bank. And then we have one more bit of terrain here, one rooftop and one set of slow terrain, which looks like water of some sort. The last few items in the box are decks of cards. Every character has their own set of cards that they use. Every character also has their own set of 3 dice. In this case, they are color-coded. So we have purple for Donatello, orange for Michelangelo, red for Raphael, blue for Leonardo, and then the others are for the other characters in the game, including the enemies. We have snap-on colored bases, so you can easily tell the turtles apart from the people they're fighting. We also have a stack of heavy-duty cards. These are your player character sheets. So the character sheets tell you what each character can do, gives you their attributes, shows you the size of their dice, and tells you up top their movement, their toughness, how well they fight, those sorts of things. Each character plays differently. There's Casey. Just have some of the basic characters: thugs, brawlers and gunners, Old Hob, who's one of the enemies, the Mousers, and there are tons of those in the box if you didn't catch that, the Mega Mouser, Baxter Stockman. Those of us who are familiar with the comic or the show know what Baxter ends up being. A number of the Foot Ninjas, Alopex, who's a Foot Clan leader, more Thug Brawlers, Gunners, Old Hob, Mousers. So there's a series of cards here that describe each and every character in the game. One other nice thing, they also included a series of bags. So once you've punched out all those tokens, you have ways to easily sort them and keep track of them. And the very last thing I see in here is a round tracker. So obviously the game is limited to at maximum 8 rounds. There's also a villain round tracker on the back. So that's box number 1. Give me just a second, we'll move this aside. And we'll see what we have. Oh, let me show you this bottom tray here as well. Notice nice areas for sorting the cards. There's a little bit of extra room, so I have to believe that sleeved cards will fit nicely in here. Nice areas for putting everything else in. And then these tiles actually fit very nicely back on top, and notice there's a plastic bumper there, so they're not going to get dinged up as the box gets moved around. So very well thought out, very well constructed. So box number 2. City Fall. Let's see what's going to be different about this one. Looks like Splinter and Shredder are involved in this box. If I had to guess, I also see Bebop and Rocksteady there in the cover art, and I see April O'Neil. So we're in for something a little bit different here, I believe. When we open this up, let's take a closer look at the artwork. So again, you can see great comic book style art there on the cover. On the edges, we do in fact have April O'Neil, Bebop and Rocksteady. That looks like Leonardo, but in a different outfit. As a matter of fact, it matches the Deviations Pack outfit. And then we have, of course, Master Splinter. Once again, we have an adventure comic. There's only one here, but it's considerably thicker than the other one, so there's still quite a few things in here to play through. Nice, again, little comic interludes that give you some of the stories you go through. The full rule book. And our miniatures this time. So let's take a look at a couple of these. Notice again, very nice tray, very nice packaging there to keep everything intact. Let's go ahead and pop one plastic there, or one tape there. Oh, for fun, let's take a look at Rocksteady. So here is, of course, Rocksteady, the giant mutant rhinoceros. Look at the size of that bruiser. He's carrying his hammer. Really nice detail. You can see the pockets on his jeans, the wrinkles, the musculature that he's got. Fantastic sculpting work there. We have the Shredder in all of his magnificent and terribly, terribly scary glory. His dual hand claws that he's using. Spikes on the shoulder pad, very nice. Great detail on that cloak. Look how well it flows. I mean, it is up and away from his body like he's actually running. So, great looking figure. Bebop, complete with a chainsaw. His signature mohawk there on top. Again, nice detail. You can see make out the studs in his armband. Little leg pack that he's got on there. All in all, wonderful, wonderful sculpts they've done here. So again, awful lot of figures in there. Lots of things to see. Oh, wait, here's Master Splinter. So let's take a look at Splinter real quick. Splinter looks good, appropriately sized. Let's go ahead and grab the Shredder, put them side by side for 1 second here. Do a little comparison. You can see Splinter is appropriately sized compared to a human-sized figure. It's kind of scrunched over as he's doing his kata. Ready to fight. Wow, that tail is really long and again very dynamic. And finally, let's take a look at April. At least I'm presuming this is April O'Neil. Certainly looks like her to me. So all in all, the figures are very nice again here. Got a nice variety of Foot Clan soldiers this time, and several other characters that I just do not recognize immediately. But I'm sure I'll learn as I play the game. Got another pack of tokens here. Looks very similar to the pack of tokens in the other one, but since this is a different set, there will be some differences, I'm sure. So we start off with our set of health tokens. The pizza on the one side, villain tokens on the other. This looks identical with the KO tokens and the other markers. And the back side showing exactly the same as the previous sheet. You can see Raphael knocking somebody on the head down here. Excuse me. Set of other markers. This looks exactly identical. That looks the same also. Same. Same. Slash sheet's different though. We got some different cars, some different hexagonal markers, 3 other characters, and then we've got, looks like, holes in roofs here. And 2 different types of roofs with holes in it. So there is one different sheet in this. The rest of the token pack looks identical. This is the same pack that we saw before with the rules in it. We do have a new set of tiles here though. As you see here, this looks like a bar, complete with a pool table. Looks like the inside of a theater to me. Seats there and stage. More of the theater. As a matter of fact, I would have to wager these two actually connect to each other. Right like that to make one continuous board. Backside of this one is just a rooftop store of some sort. This looks like part of the sewer lair to me. Looks like Master Splinter's dojo with the nice mat on the floor there. This is a parking lot perhaps. Kind of hard to tell, but it looks like it's got some numbered spots there. Perhaps a loading dock. It looks like a little ramp there and an elevated terrain for a loading dock. Another park, a little different than the one in the previous set. The inside of a laboratory. The ooze there in the corner. This looks very similar to the one we saw before with the windows there, but there is no desk in this one, so I'm guessing some part of an office building. Four-way intersection, quite obviously. Ah, the docks. We have a piece of dock here, complete with water. Some things sunk in there. Looks like another parking lot. This time we have actual lines marked off where the cars would park. Interior of yet another building, one large room. Another piece of the dock there, so we can make a larger dock scene. Streets at night. And this, I'm going to guess, is where the Shredder hangs out. That certainly looks like something the Foot Clan would have. Finally, we also have packs of cards. 3 packs just like before. A different set of dice because we have different characters in this pack. So we have a different set of dice with different colors. We still have black dice here, but unlike the other one, I don't see any white dice in here. So that's kind of interesting to me. We have red snap-on markers for the bottoms of the characters this time, rather than the green. And this gives us our character pack as well as our cards for the others. So we'll find out who we have. We have Angel Bridge, April O'Neil. Perhaps I did not have April before. She has fists on rather than swords. Old Hob. Now remember, Old Hob was an enemy in the previous one. He looks like he's a friend in this one. And we have Slash. Slash is the turtle, mutated turtle from the movies, not from the comic book. We have Master Splinter. And then of course we have the enemies. Foot Ninja, Foot Elite with that little pole arm there. Foot Bruiser, looks a little scary. Karai, one of the leaders. Leonardo, leader of the Foot Clan. Well, that's a little different now, isn't it? And Shredder, leader of the Foot Clan. We have the Purple Dragon Gang. Remember that our first character here, Angel, is part of the Purple Dragons. So this is a gang member from that gang. We have Hun, leader of the Purple Dragons. Bebop, Foot Clan leader. And Rocksteady, Foot Clan leader. And then we have duplicates of some of these. So we've got Splinter, we've got, wow, an even meaner looking version of Slash. Purple Dragon Gang, Hun. We got duplicate cards here for many of these. So there we go. That is the second box set, City Fall. Give me a moment to move this all out of the way. Now we'll take a look at our next box, which is the Secret History of the Foot Clan. You should always be very careful when you're popping the plastic open on packages. You don't want to damage your boxes. By the way, all of these boxes have that really nice linen finish on them. Makes them durable, kind of dulls them to shine, but they still look fantastic. This one gives the same information on the side, so that's 1 to 5 players. Plays in 60 to 90 minutes. Again, great artwork on the front. You can see Kang being very threatening there in the background. Box is much smaller than the others, about, I'd say, 1/3 the height. We have the Adventure Comic, just like we had with the others. Very small sheet of tokens. We got a number of characters here that have tokens for them, rather than figures. There are some figures underneath, though. We have a handful of tiles here. Looks like a traditional Japanese village. We got outdoors. Look at a meadow with some trees in it. Some more of that same village, and again we've got kind of half of a house here, so it looks to me like those two fit together like that to make a full board. On the back of this we have a roadway, interior of a house, and looks like more of that garden, but this time it has some sort of a temple in it. Small pack of cards this time, just one, just 6 dice. So this set has only a small pack of cards inside of it, very small. Has a 6-pack of dice, rather than as many as the others. This is clearly a supplement and you require the other games to play. The character cards are for Oroku-san, who eventually becomes the Shredder. We got Hamato Yoshi, who was the owner of Splinter when he was just a rat. Foot Elite. I really like the mask on this guy. It's very, very evocative. Of course, our typical Foot Clan ninjas. There's Oroku-san as the Shredder. There's Krang. I was calling him Kang before. I apologize, but they're Krang. More of the Foot Elite. Foot Ninja, Shredder. So we got our duplicate cards in there. Those fit very nicely once again with this vacuum sealed pack. I pulled Krang out. I wanted to give you a close-up of this miniature. Anybody who knows anything about him knows he is actually a brain inside of a robotic body. A little different take than we saw in the TV show when I was a kid back in the 80s. Actually, sorry, I wasn't even a kid in the 80s. Back when I was raising kids in the 80s. And this guy looks a little more stylish, a little more cool than the guy that we used to know. I also have what I believe is to be Hamato Yoshi. Just taking a look at him. He's got his sword over his head. He's got his little ponytail pulled back. Really nice detail on the armor here, on the sandals. Great work on those cloaks again. Man, they did a fantastic job on these figures overall. So that is the secret history of the Foot Clan. That takes us to our big box of stretch goals. This, although the box itself is of course rather plain, it's all the freebies they threw in for those of us who were kind enough to help back them on Kickstarter. So, let's see what we have inside, shall we? Inside of this are 2 trays full of lovely, lovely things. So, top tray, another huge tray of miniatures. You can see this. Let me get this out of the way. Make it a little easier for you. So once again, just a number of miniatures, a great tray. This guy here, very, very bulky alligator. We got some Foot Clan with these rather long, spindly fingered arms, very scary looking. Baby Baxter Stockman eventually. Spoiler alert there. Look, we have Flying Mausers with little jet rocket lift packs on them. That's a rather cool looking hawk type person. Excellent detail on the feathers there. Again, spared no expense in making these figures absolutely fantastic. You can see the quantity that we have there. There's quite a few figures in that set. Included with that is the Stretch Goal adventure comic. Lots and lots more adventures to play through. Extend the value of the game. A little different art style in here, more back to the original. I believe this is the original art style. So this one was probably done by, well, let's see, Terry Art. Oh, nope, not by the original guys, but certainly gives you an interesting, different take on the artwork that we've been seeing so far. Got another set of tiles here, just a couple this time, literally 2 extra tiles. Got the inside of a house there. Oh, this is like a barn. That would be the front of the barn connecting to it to make a farm. And then on the other side, we've got, looks like a pathway down to a seashore and a park of some sort. So maybe a meadow, maybe a forest there. Looks like 3 more sets of dice for 3 characters in this set. A couple of packs of cards. And some other interesting tracking. These are card holders. Interesting. So when you're playing with this, clearly the point is you take your card. Which side is open on this? I don't want a mess to be open. Oh, I'm sorry, it just sets in there. So your card sets in there like that. And then as you use your dice, you can push them up so you know that you've used them. So it'll help you keep track of game state. So within this set, we've got Alapex, Koya, Raphael under Clan Hamato, Pigeon Pete as a Mutanimal, Baxter Stockman, the Flyborgs are the little ones that I showed you earlier, Flying Mausers, another version of Koya, the Foot Assassin, those are the guys with the long claws that we have there. Leatherhead is the name of the alligator man. Metalhead, forgot about him, he's a robotic turtle. Scratch. The Stranger, he's a little creepy looking with his almost clown-like makeup on. Worm, not sure what he's supposed to be, but he's got a cup stuck in his head and a tire. He looks like a pile of trash, basically. A Savate Ninja, Victor, who's the leader of that group. The Rat King, very cool artwork for the Rat King. Hopefully you can make that out pretty well. More Flyborgs, more Mausers, and then that looks like duplicates of everything. So that is the contents of our expansion pack that came with the Kickstarter. Again, loads and loads of new miniatures. Expands all kinds of possibilities. Got 5 small packs left to go. We'll start with the Villain Upgrade Pack. This pack allows you to play the villain characters as if they were hero characters through the course of the game. So it does not contain any figures, but what it does contain is all the cards and the dice and the rule sheet that you need to play villains effectively as heroes in this game. Carefully open this up. These kind of boxes are always a little bit tricky the first time. We'll get them without ripping anything. There we go. So again, this pack gives you a sheet explaining the rules. Gives us player character versions of the villains, stack of cards, and lots of very pretty unique dice to use with them. Moving on, we have the Deviations pack. Now this one contains actually some additional miniatures. So it's going to be the 4 turtles and these different outfits. Notice we already saw one of these before. We already saw Leonardo as a member of the Foot Clan. Let's see what the rest of the turtles look like as members of the Foot Clan. Again, take a look at this really nice artwork they've given us on these boxes. These are not quite as nice of boxes. They're not as durable. They're not the linen finish, but they get the job done for what they're intended to do. They do still really have nice holding trays. So we have a miniature Deviations adventure comic book, a little bit thinner, but still very nice. A stack of cards. We already have the dice that we need to play these guys, but as you can see, the figure from Michelangelo, markedly different than it was before. He's wearing the clawed boots. His nunchucks are held differently. He looks a little more intense than he did before. Each of the characters actually do. Inside of here, variants on Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo, making them all leaders of the Foot Clan. And there's 2 of each of them. So that takes care of the Deviations pack. Savage Slash pack is a single miniature. Remember, we had the one Slash card where he looked much meaner. This contains the miniature that goes along with that card. As we open this one up, here again, being a little bit cautious. Got a incredibly impressive Slash figure. You can make out the details. Look at the details just in that shell. Look at those patterns. Unbelievable. The detail in his legs, his chest. Once again, fabulous sculpting on these figures. We have the Loner Roth pack. Actually has 3 different dice with it, as well as a miniature and a hero sheet. So this is a completely different character. Now, those of you who've read the comics know that at one point Raphael takes off and goes off by himself for various reasons. I'm assuming this is going to play into that and allow him to play a little bit differently than he does in his other incarnations. So, his character card. One little card there. You can see 3 dice. 1 figure in the pack. Very nice. And finally, as I said earlier, my favorite, the Stan Sakai pack. I love Stan. He's been doing Usagi Yojimbo for over 30 years. Various comic book publishers have published it over the years, but he has been the writer and artist throughout as far as I know. So it's one continuous story, which is very impressive for anybody. So this is going to give us new versions of all of these 5 characters, the 4 turtles plus Usagi Yojimbo, his trademark character, and it's got the dice from Usagi as well as his character card. So there's the rule sheet. Actually, I do have new character cards for each of the characters. There's Usagi's dice. You can see the figures there. Usagi just looks wonderful. Turtles look a little bit different than their other ones, but very exciting nonetheless. And these cards, and of course the new version of Donatello, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael, and Miyamoto Usagi. He is a Yojimbo, which means a samurai rabbit. So that is it. I've unboxed the entire set for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this with me. I hope you appreciate it. From all of us here at Building Geek Cred, thank you so much for joining us today. Bye-bye.